got hot weather from Australia, a cold change again this week from the Southern Ocean, and the tropics are waking up. Hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us for the outlook for this week. And we're approaching February. Can you believe it? It'll be February next week. So as we wind up January, two things to note. One, we are entering now the peak of summer. We had a cold change last week that certainly threw us, but this week things are warming back up again. It'll feel like summer up until Thursday, so we'll talk about that in a moment. And by the way, the cold change this week is also quite short-lived. The second part of it, La Nina, we believe has now peaked, which means that time is running out for us to get a rainmaker, but we are also entering that sort of February, March period, which is when the sea surface temperatures up here to the north of New Zealand are at their warmest, and that encourages rainmakers. So we do have the potential of a rainmaker next week and a windmaker. It's not yet locked in, but we'll talk about that as well. So let's get into it. So with the current forecast, this map shows air pressure, high pressure in the yellow, low pressure in the purpley blue. So there is a lot of low pressure on here. This looks very much like La Nina going on up here, and also right across Australia. Another low to the north. They had one out to the northwest and a cyclone out to the northeast just last week. So there's a lot of low pressure through Australia at the moment. The high pressure belt just here is the only thing stopping New Zealand, and northern New Zealand especially, from getting rain. And it's been like that a lot over the last few months. In fact, it's been like that a lot for the last couple of years. So this high is stubborn. It's blocking the La Nina rains from reaching us, even though they've been hitting out here and affecting the tropical islands. There's also still some storms in the Southern Ocean. That isn't yet finished, but this week is a lot quieter. But we do have a cold change coming. So let's try and make sense of it. Just before we get into the weather maps, just wanted to show you 3 days of departure from normal temperatures. This is showing the hot weather that's on the way. So for Monday, the areas in green, that means you've got average temperatures. That's just the satellite map. There's no colouring over the top. So as you can see, western areas and slightly southern areas, you're still getting the cooler breeze off the sea, which means your temperatures are bang on normal for this time of the year. Everybody else, you're leaning a few, maybe several degrees inland for these red areas above average. So that's Monday. But look at Tuesday, much warmer, much hotter. The South Island going into the mid-30s, could be highs 35, 36 degrees, might even go hotter than that if you get the right setup. You need clear skies, a windy nor'wester, and that pulse of hot weather to arrive into the afternoon. But it's possible. So those places in the dark colorings over 8 degrees above average for this time of the year. The North Island warms up a little further as well. And by the time we get to Wednesday, hotter into the North Island now and the top of the south, but there's a bit of a change happening in the south. You won't quite feel it maybe till the end of the day. It might start off quite warm, and then by the end of Wednesday, your temperatures drop. So we've certainly got some hot weather coming up for the next few days ahead. Let's get into the forecast, and here we are for Tuesday with high pressure to the north. The wind's not so bad in the north. We've had a windy week. Now, for a lot of us, it doesn't really affect us unless it's a storm, but think about all the people that are camping. So I used to camp a lot in a tent when I was younger, and it didn't take much of a breeze to keep you sort of restless for the night. And we've been seeing blustery winds off and on around the country for the last week. And it's still going to be a bit windy, but remember, it will be hotter as that pulse of Australian heat comes through on Tuesday. Look at the temperatures. You can see the areas that are going to be the warmest. It's just here through Canterbury and around the Marlborough and off towards sort of Kaikoura. Those areas feeling the heat. In the north, it's the whole eastern side that's basically feeling a little bit warmer. But those areas are going to get into the 30s. Now, when we take a look at Wednesday's setup, you can still see that hot weather coming out of Australia and also out of the subtropics, moving into the North Island, these eastern areas feeling the heat. Down here, still the same wind direction, still another warm day. But when you track the origins of the isobars, say from about Otago southwards, still a nor'wester or a westerly, but you go out to sea and it turns and it's a southerly. So this is a colder airflow now moving through, which you'll feel more so later in the day, and you're certainly going to feel it on Thursday. There's the next cold change, a proper southerly coming through from well south of New Zealand. That means the temperatures are going to go from being in the 30s, listen to this, in the 30s and late 20s, to failing to meet the teens in some places. We're talking 11s and 12s. Now, last week we had that big cold blast. this one's short-lived. That's the good news. It's not going to linger, but certainly Thursday, the temperatures drop. Winter comes back again for some in the south. It's not going to be a very warm day or pleasant with the showers and the wind and snow flurries way up on the mountains. So another cold change, windy all the way up into the North Island as well. And by Friday, the colder air moves into the North Island, southerly quarter winds. If you're just heading off for camping, right at the peak of summer with a southerly, you might be wondering what's happening. The good news is behind it's a high. So things are going to settle down much faster than they did last week. This is not going to linger for several days. It's just basically 24, 36 hours, and then it's gone. And you're seeing that happen there on Friday. And our final map for Saturday shows the next couple of things that are happening. There's 2 or 3 things going on this map. So Saturday sees high pressure rolling into the south. Cold nights after that southerly, but beautiful days afterwards. And things will warm up even further once the high goes to the eastern side and those northerlies come back in, which means we're going to have some pretty hot weather as we go into the start of February. Now in the north, the second thing we're noticing, the easterly winds beginning again. That's a lot more like La Nina. We've had so many westerlies lately, it's felt more like spring or autumn. This is going to make it feel more like La Nina. And the third feature, this large area of low pressure forming to the north. There's a lot of low pressure on this map, all to the north. This is the largest area. It may well split into 2 or 3 sections. And it's not yet locked in. I know many of you are looking at windy. Windy is fine to look at, but you've just got to remember, don't bank everything onto one update. You've got to look at it for 3 days or so at least to start to get an idea. And while today the GFS map from America shows it directly coming into the north, on Friday it was showing it way out here closer to Sydney and coming down to the South Island. It's a several 100-kilometre piece of wiggle room, so I wouldn't be locking in this area of low pressure, especially considering high pressure is the reason why northern New Zealand is so much drier than average for the last 2 years. So it's kind of stacked against the low coming in, but right now some of the modelling does suggest it might happen. We'll be keeping a very close eye on that every day this week here in our Weather Watch videos. And before I go, one last thing. We've relaunched, again, I think this is our 3rd relaunch, of ruralweather.co.nz. Nice new logo, nice new layout. We're very excited. We're partnering up with Global HQ. They produce Farmers Weekly. So we're very excited to see where this all goes. And phase 1 was upgrading the website, so please take a look at ruralweather.co.nz today. And remember the secret, we've got an app coming out soon. It's coming out soon, that's all I can say. We will see you again tomorrow with the latest. Enjoy your Wellington anniversary if you've got today off.